We are finally back. Season 2, Bridge Broadcast, our podcast series, everything about Bridge Lacrosse. We've had a pretty busy 9 months since since the end of season 1, our last episode. We've got a lot of great things to share. We're going to bring on some new guests. We've got some other people hosting and taking over this thing. So let's go ahead and jump in. This is episode 1, season 2, with our Texas D3 champions. Let's do this. So who's done this before? JJ and Daniela, for sure. Mari, you've not done this before, and Jayla, you've not done this, right? Okay. So the way this works is, we started this last year, obviously, during COVID, when we had more time on our hands. Everyone was home, couldn't get out of our houses. The idea was this was just a new medium to talk about Bridge, to let other people have a platform to talk about their experience with Bridge, or even things unrelated to Bridge. Like we had a couple podcasts around. We had a debate over MJ versus LeBron. We had, where's some other stuff? We did like a top 10 Pixar movies, top 10 sports movies, things like that. So the idea was that this was just a new way for people to talk about Bridge, or people within Bridge to talk about whatever they wanted. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we go around and you all introduce yourselves. Jayla, why don't you go first?
Okay, so I'm JLo. I play for Varsity. I'm one of the captains, and my grad season is 2021, and I'm off to Whittier College in the fall.
Awesome. JJ.
I'm JJ. I'm a junior. I also play for the varsity team, and I have verbally committed to San Diego State.
Yeah. Mari.
I'm Kamari. I'm also a junior playing for the Varsity Bridge lacrosse team, and I'm currently uncommitted.
My name is Daniela. I also play for the varsity team. I'm a 22, and I'm also uncommitted.
Yeah, and we're working on that too, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about your season and kind of the beginning, essentially like beginning to end, but ultimately, and how it ended with a title and a championship. But before we get into that, which is awesome, and I could talk for days about y'all's championship game, but let's start at the very beginning, right? So COVID, summer, fall, still a lot of virtual stuff. We're January, there's no spring training. We're back on the field. Was like that third week of January, late start because of COVID. Where are you all mentally? Where are you all in terms of your headspace and getting back into what the goal was, a full season?
I guess I'll start. For me, I was scared. I was looking at our numbers and I was like, okay, well, it doesn't look like we have enough for 2 teams, and that was a little weird. And I didn't really feel like we were gonna have a full season. I was kind of set on like us just having practice and probably never having a game, and if we did, it would be like 2. So this whole season was just unexpected, if I'm being honest.
What was it about this season then, or what was it about like that time frame in January where you're like, this is not going to be like a real season then? Like, what were some of the things that you saw that were like, okay, this is definitely going to be not what I want, or what we expected?
Kind of just the whole, like, the way that we handled things, how we had the spring training together, but it was different, how with the mask and taking temperatures, and how everything at school still wasn't the same. I was still the only one in the classroom. It was just me and my teacher. So I didn't expect anybody to really come back, or I expected there to be a COVID case and then we have to shut down like what happened last year. So I didn't really want to get my hopes up. So I just set the bar low.
Yeah, I hear you. Jayla, what about you?
So right off the bat, it was kind of like we're taking a risk because we're all doing this during a pandemic. But even like when the season started, spring training was very different. It was like we were all really excited, or I was really excited to do like the camping thing. But of course, like everything happened. And even then, like when we started, we had a shutdown like for a week because of the weather here in Texas. So that kind of like set the mood and was like, dang, like you got to get back on it even when there's things going on. So that was like a real reality check. Like, hey, this can completely cut off like even when you're barely starting out. And I never expected it to come out this far. I mean, I never expected to be this far along with like my team and everything. So it was really rewarding to see all the hard work put in when we went to practice and when we didn't miss and when we were all there, to see how far like Bridge is capable of going and just working for it.
Yeah. Mara, did you think that, or when we were coming back and, getting ready to reset the season, and I know you were around during this summer and fall, but were you at all concerned about COVID? Were you still kind of like, safety is still kind of a big issue? Obviously we didn't get everyone back, but how did you feel about coming back in terms of safety and COVID?
I actually felt pretty safe because I know Bridge is probably one of the most responsible groups I know. So I knew Bridge was just going to try its best to handle everything, in a safe manner. But I was worried about the outside groups, because I know that we might be responsible, but other groups might not be as responsible as us. So I was more worried about how they were going to affect us and our ability to play. But I really had confidence that we were going to be able to handle things nice and still be able to play while keeping safe, and we did so.
Yeah, you guys did really great this year with the masks and temp checks and just being responsible in terms of, oh, coach, I might have had contact with someone who might have had contact with someone who had COVID, or I'm going to run and get tested, or came back with a negative test, I'm good to go. I think everyone understood how important this was and the responsibility we had. So I appreciate you saying that. Danielle, what about you? What was your headspace back in January?
Honestly, I just didn't think like the level of competition was going to be there, because like we were in a pandemic, or we still are. And like where we were at with school, I don't know, I didn't have like any motivation. Like online school was really bad. Like, no, I don't want to do it again. So I just thought like, if I feel unmotivated to do school, everyone's going to feel unmotivated to like play lacrosse, and we're just going to be going to practice and like not competing as much as I wanted to compete. But it was like the complete opposite of that. I feel like we were all very committed this year, and that's why we got where we got. Like, it was rare that like a lot of people missed practice, and like if they did miss practice, it was like for a good reason, or like it was out of their control. So yeah.
So none of you thought that we would be winning a championship at the end of the season.
Absolutely
basically.
not.
No.
Like
What the
I
heck?
would think we would make it like maybe 5 games in, and then the season would be cut off, and it's like, hey, like I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to redo the same thing we did last year. And I was like, oh.
Also, Coach Maddie kept talking about that. She would be like, we don't know when our last day is gonna be, and like last season showed us that. So I think everybody just had the same mindset.
Yeah, that's got to be tough too, to just like every day think it's going to be kind of the last. And I think it's really hard to buy into a full season when you're just like, okay, this is not going to, there's no way this is going to last. Like, and even about this time, I think January, February, like the Ivy Leagues hadn't come back yet, right? There were a lot of schools, colleges with lacrosse programs who have far more resources than we do, that could do a bubble or that could do testing on a regular basis, were, not committed to a season. And so here we are in January, like, I guess we'll try it and see what happens. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's got to be tough to just get to practice and think this might be the last practice or the last game, if at all. So we get into the January where we run through a week of spring training. We're trying to, just keep a healthy mindset and keep everyone motivated. We get a couple games in. I think it was that first game of the season. It was like mid-February. We played Grapevine, beat them by 5 or 6 goals. At what point in the season did you all start to think that, hey, this is a really special team that's capable of going maybe a lot farther than any other Bridge Panthers team ever?
I would say it's the first game we played Parrish, when it was kind of like the second half, and it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I think we ended up winning by 1. But that game, I was like, okay, we got something, because that game, everybody just put whatever they had on the field, and we fought to the very end, and we ended up winning. So I think that was the first game where I was like, we could do something with this.
That was, and Mari, you're a huge part of the reason that we won, because that you had a game tying save like as the clock was running down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that was also
that
crazy.
that video got like 5,000 views, like across all of social media. Like your save was like epic, and then just your reaction too, because you look over, you're waiting for the ref to like
Yeah.
officially say, because you didn't cheer immediately. Like the horn blew and everyone's cheering, and you're just waiting for like the official word that we won this game, and then you just like went crazy. It was great. Jayla, what about you? When did it hit you that this team could maybe do some really special stuff?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the same game. I think that game really showed like the true chemistry our team had and how much we had built into this program and how much we built into this overall coming to practice and everything. And it really did hit the spot because it was like, wow, we could do this. I'm really, really confident we can. And it just really took a mental place. I was just like shocked. Yeah, me too. Mari was like, I remember seeing Mari in the cage and she was just like, and then throwing her stick and everything. So it was just crazy.
Daniela, JJ?
For me, it wasn't a game. It was just practice in general. Like, I feel like we were so committed, like every single person. I don't know, It's just the amount of commitment we had. Everyone like showed up. Yeah, we had like 1 or 2 practices where we were off, but we got in trouble and we had to like run sprints or whatever. But like other than that, I feel like everyone came to practice and like gave it their 100% every time. Like with everything. If we were doing like a small drill or like a more complex drill, like both of them were everybody was in 100%. And if we messed up, like Coach Maddie or Coach Kat would tell us like what to fix, and we would fix it like the next time we did the drill or like then right after they told us. So I think we're a very coachable team, like overall. We adjusted very easily, and like that's when I knew like we have a chance of winning.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for me, it was also the practices. What's our second field called on Tuesdays?
It was that turf field.
That field.
Yeah, just the turf field.
We were on the opposite side, like where we're not usually, but we were on the boys' side. And we had a really, really good practice. And I was like, yo, like, wait a minute. We might do something with this. And then also, every time we would scrimmage each other towards the end of the season, things got intense. And then that's when I was like, okay, like, this team is different. And even though we were going hard with each other, like, we would still celebrate the other team's goals and, like celebrate Mari, even though we were trying to rip on her and, like, all this other type of stuff. It was great. So, yeah.
I think it was the second Parrish game when we were at Parrish and like we handled them pretty well. Like it was not a 1-goal game. I think we doubled up on them. And that's when that's when it hit me. I was like, because I was filming, I was up on the Parrish side or the bleachers. So I was like, okay, we beat them the first time barely by a goal on our home field, and they didn't have some of their studs and didn't have their head coach even. So like this could be tough because, you know, the second time around we're at their place. They have all their players back and they have their head coach back. Like this is going to be a grind. And then we doubled up on them, and it was like, oh, right, this is no longer about us coming in as the underdog, which, you know, you all have played with us long enough. That's very much our very much our kind of role that we play in a lot of games, is that we're kind of playing from behind.
And I'll cut in. I don't know if you heard about the conversation that happened before the second Parrish game, but I won't say, but it was a lot. It was a whole lot of doubts on the Bridge team before we played.
Okay.
I would say there was a whole lot of excuses from the opposing side, but I guess that's for me. That was also a game where I was like, you know, we got this, because there was really no belief that we could do it. And that game, the difference from the second game, the first game when we only beat them by 1, but this time we beat them by 5. So I was like, yeah, we got this. We chilling. We cool. So, yeah.
It was a special game. I remember talking to Coach Maddie afterwards of just, okay, this is now our role. Like we are in front. Season's not over yet, but we're clearly like a front runner to do really cool things. And even at that point, I hadn't really thought about a championship. I didn't really, like, that wasn't quite in my head.
Yeah.
But it was just like we're winning games and we're playing at a high level. Like that's all I was focused on at the moment. So we're in, okay, let's kind of go on a timeline here. So we're in a little after spring break. We're after spring break. We're in March. We've got we're maybe 4-0 now. You know, we missed a couple of games because of cancellations. That Oklahoma tournament got canceled. Let's talk about your L. Let's talk about the L at Bishop Lynch. Your one lone L in the season. What happened?
It was a mentality. Yeah. I think we walked onto the field. Well, I know we walked onto the field like we had already lost because we were so intimidated. Because the night before at practice, Jamari had brought up the fact that they had a grit player on their team. And like we all went home. And like she told us her name. So I mean I watched Jamari sent me her film and then I sent Mari the film. And then I feel like that just ruined everything.
Wait, none of you were like, well, we have a grit player on our team who's a Division I commit. No one thought that was the rebuttal. That never crossed anyone's mind.
Well, because it came from JJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came from Jamaria. And she was like, no, like they have her. Like she was terrified when we left practice. So I was like, if she's terrified, we should be terrified. Like, yeah, she's scared.
A lot of it's my fault. I won't lie. I was like, Jenna is better than me, but we also kind of played two different positions, or we did. So I compared myself too much. I'm sorry, guys.
I remember like picking up JJ from her house on that day, and I was like, "Are you ready?" And she's like, "Girl, don't even ask me." Like we were driving back, we were going to Bishop Lynch, and then I was like, "Dang, we really got to play on a Tuesday night, like anything but a Tuesday night."
So how often does that happen with you all? And maybe not even this year, but just like all the seasons past, your experience with Bridge, where you go into a game and you're like, we're already going to lose. You know, is that more common than not?
Like the entire last season, probably the season before that, the season before. I mean,
you're saying every game then, Mari.
I mean, not every game, but it's just, I'll be trying the best to prepare myself. Okay. So that way, whatever the result may be, I won't be as upset. So
do you think because of that mentality going in, we probably lost some games we shouldn't have?
Yeah. But I will say that it has gotten better. Like middle school, I knew we were going to lose every game. I knew it. Like freshman year, it got a little bit lower. Sophomore year, it got lower. And then this year, we did the thing. Like, we took it. But I don't know. Every year it's getting better.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
I feel like it's because we didn't have anything to go off of. Like, the games before, they were losses. So, like, how can you go off of a loss and try to convert it to a win? But this year, we were, like, going off a win. So there was I was coming off a lot of motivation, you know. I had a lot to think about other than think about this loss last week and think about that loss. So it made it easier.
That's a good point. I mean, we were talking about just this historic, nature of this win in the season. And because it's so unprecedented, because Bridge teams and don't win, right? It's not something, that is part of our history. It's not part of the mentality. Winning is not really even part of our long-term goals. Edie our founder always joked that your team did not win a game for the first 3 years of Irma Rangel lacrosse when it was still Irma Rangel. And that first win was maybe 1 win a season, 2 wins a season. We were averaging 1 or 2. So I understand that mentality, Mari, where there is no history of winning. There are 10 L's to every 1 W. And so it's hard to go into any game thinking somehow we're going to change that. But here we are. So what happens moving forward then, right? Now that you have a title, does the nature or does the mentality of the Bridge Panthers change?
Absolutely. Did you see the little kids?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They were pretty hyped, weren't they? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm still looking at the stats. Like, I'm still going to look at the stats of the other team and everything. maybe there's gonna be a little bit doubt, but like I for sure think like it's possible.
Yeah. So you all are the turning point. This team and this generation of Panthers varsity players, we can look back to like that game and this moment where everything turned, and the way we approach games, the confidence that's built in the program shifted because of you all. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially because this program's been around for over a decade. Your coaches played on some of those teams that took a lot of L's. So you went into the BL game, the Bishop Lynch game, kind of thinking this was going to be tough, may not come out with a win. You got the L. What changed then? How did we regroup? How did we rebound from that loss?
I think it was our other W's. Like that week after we lost, I think it was kind of tough. Coach Maddie was not very happy.
Yeah.
As she should. But the way that we got it together, like in a game, I don't know, team chemistry just happened. And then we were like, okay, well, we got this.
And I think that was the second Grapevine game. Or maybe the senior night game, maybe the JP2 game. I'm trying to remember which one was that right. Which one?
Grapevine first.
Grapevine. Yeah, it was the second great game. Yeah. And then you played senior night, which that game was interesting, by the way, because they're not technically in our district. They had 30 girls on the sideline who were like really hyped up. That game was interesting because that was their very first lacrosse game, and they scored the first goal in the first like 4 seconds.
Mari.
Oh my God.
And no. I want to talk about that because I don't want to, give their credit for their first goal. But I would like to say for the record, I saved the ball, okay? I was just being careless. It was late, and I accidentally turned my stick. But if you watch the film, it landed in my stick, okay? It did. Let's say that. It landed in my stick, and, I don't know what happened. I just turned my stick in, and I got their goal.
All right. I'll check the game film.
Yeah, check
I
the
remember
film.
looking at Mari and was like, what just happened?
She was so mad.
First,
She like throwing her stick and everything.
So we win that game pretty handily. I think basically you all scored like at least a couple, and everyone kind of had like really, really strong highlights from that game. And that's not to say that JP2 wasn't a strong team. And they have some athletes on that team. That will be a team in the future that we'll have to deal with and really, really look out for. So we're through senior night. The stage is set. We're supposed to play Bishop Lynch a second time, and that's the last regular season game. It gets canceled because, of course, it does, because weather doesn't like lacrosse, and so we have to go at the number 2 seed. Right? We don't get a second shot at Bishop Lynch. Do you think that helped us or hurt us not playing them twice?
No, it helped.
It helped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why?
I don't want to say we would have lost, but I feel like we needed like that week. Was it a week? No. Yeah. We needed,
I think it was,
like,
yeah.
we needed that week to like just practice and like go to practice, fix what we had to fix. And then I remember that same week, Coach Maddie and Coach Kat kept talking about the film, and they literally broke down what they were doing behind cage, and like we walked through it for like almost the whole practice. And I feel like that helped us because not that we knew what they were going to do, because I don't know if they were doing that like when we played the championship game, but I feel like it made us more confident. Like it gave us something that we knew about them in a way, and like we couldn't just go into this game like, oh, we don't know anything about them. They have a great girl. We're dead. Like we had an advantage because we watched them and we broke it down. And I feel like that made it less intimidating.
Yeah. Also, playing BL is very exhausting. Like mentally and physically, it is exhausting. And I don't think we could have played them like 2 more times with like that short amount of time. I don't know if it would have went well.
So we don't play them a second time because of the weather. The seeds are set, right? So we could take the 2 seed because because the first game counts against us. They're the 2 seed, or they're the 1 seed. We're the 2. Parish is the 3, and Grapevine gets the 4 seed. So we match up against Parish. It's Tuesday night. Walk me
Tuesday
through this
night.
semifinal games Tuesday night. Walk me through this, because this game was, I mean, listen, both your games this whole season's been epic, but that game was
Crazy.
just one of the most memorable games I've ever seen in any sporting event, period. Walk me through what's going on.
I feel like we walked onto the field very confident. Like the whole week, not the whole week, but like before the game, we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna win. Like we already beat them twice, and the second game was for 5 goals. I mean, yeah. But then like we started playing, and like me and Jamaria had 2 back-to-back goals, and I was like, okay, like they haven't scored. We've done this back-to-back, so I was like confident. But then there was like a period where it just was back and forth. Like they would score, and then we would score, and then they would score, and then they started getting really like feisty. Like they were so aggressive, and I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like something bad was gonna happen. Like the players, it was just so much intensity and so much like both teams wanted it just as bad, and like we both wanted to go to that game, and it was just getting like really intense. And yeah, I started getting scared when they kept tying the game, because we were up by 2, and then I was like, okay, we got this. But then they tied it, and they kept tying it, and I was like, oh my god. I was preparing for like both like a win and a loss. Like I was like, okay, what are we gonna do if we lose? But then what are we gonna do if we win?
I can't remember the count, but I think it was something like 8 lead changes, like 6 ties. I mean, everything was just back and forth until the last, obviously, like 8 seconds. But even that last minute, we're up 2 goals, right? So we're a minute away. They score a goal with 30 seconds left, and then they score another goal with 8 seconds left, and then it's tied 14s. Where are we at? Where's our head at?
For me, that was the worst game I've ever played mentally. I don't know if you remember, but I kept coming off the field and I couldn't breathe because I was having panic attacks. I have never had a panic attack while playing lacrosse, and that hurt me so much, and it hurt my team. So when I lost that draw because it was a false start, and I had to go behind her, and I tried to check, and then I had to go behind her again, and she just ran down and scored, and I couldn't catch her. I remember my whole, like, just feeling like everything in my body just left. I felt so defeated. And I remember walking back to the circle, and you can see me holding my mouth because I was shaking. I was scared. And then I looked at the sidelines. Coach is telling me to switch with Kenya. And I'm like, okay, Kenya got this. I can't mess up on this draw again because that's it. So as soon as I get on the circle, I'm like, okay, if you get this ball, you better shoot. And I knew if I shoot, I cannot shoot low because this goalie is really good at that. And she had on some very thick shin guard thingies. And I kept hitting them in the games earlier. So the ball goes up, I see it come my way, I get it, I run, and there's this girl that's directly in front of me. And I was like, as soon as I get the step on her, just rip it, but rip it high. I ripped it, and everything is going in slow motion, and I see it hit like top right corner perfectly, and then I felt infinite.
That was a beautiful retelling of that moment.
Yeah.
That game was the most dramatic game, one of the most dramatic games I've ever seen. I know everything's kind of moves like in slow motion for you all when you're playing. J-Lo, walk me through like the fans and like the way they're interacting with you all and just like the crowd and how you guys played off the crowd.
I owe it a lot to Jade's mom and the coaches and everyone, like all the fans. I think there was a boys game right before that one, so there was still a lot of, I'm not sure, but there was a lot of fans.
There was not a boys game before.
Well,
they stayed after practice.
They were practicing, but we made sure that they canceled practice early to watch you all.
Well, that's what it felt like, because I don't know if y'all heard the boys' moms, like when they play, there's a lot of energy, and that's what it felt like. It felt like every bridge, like family member was there. There was a lot of Ringel people over, and It just really helped us out. That last second when we were all just waiting for like the buzzer to hit, it was like, wait, is this for real? It was just crazy, like watching it from the other side and then seeing it like directly into the top corner. It's a lot, like it feels different because you're not the one scoring, but you can also, like, the energy is just radiating off of everyone, so it's dope.
When I watched the film, you could hear like the guys, when Jamari had the ball, the last 8 seconds, all you hear, shoot, just shoot the ball, and I was like, they really wanted her to shoot. The guys are very energetic that day.
Yeah, you had a lot of fans. I mean, the hype between the varsity boys and then the middle school girls, the 7-8 team, and the 5, 6, and 7-8 teams were out there cheering you all on. That was really special. There's a great photo of like 7 of the girls' middle school team just like cheering you all on, just absolutely losing it. Mari, what did you see from your angle? You're on the other end of the field. The draw's obviously, not coming your way, thank goodness. What's going through your head in that 8 seconds as you see JJ come up with the ball?
Really, honestly, I was just like, please cover up my mistakes. Because I'm going to be honest, that game, I hated. I hated that game to its guts. Because I feel like before you were talking how we came into the game, but I think I came in too confident. I don't know if that's a thing, but I think I came in too confident because I was watching the last Parish game when we played them the last time when we beat them by 5, and I was like, yeah, this is easy. This is lightweight. I mean, this is easy. But this game, I feel like they were playing on 1,000, so I wasn't really expecting the way that they played compared to how we played them when we beat them. So when they started scoring on me, like I remember, I think it was like the first half, and I think I got like under 3 saves. I'm not sure. I actually did not watch the game. That's how embarrassed I was of the game. I didn't even watch it. I was like, no, I'm not watching this. But when they scored on me, I was like, okay, what's going on? Pick it up. And those last few minutes when they scored those two goals, I was like, oh man. That moment, I really felt like I let my team down. So when JJ got the ball, I was like, whoo, like I was sweating, my head started banging, like my head was hurting. I didn't know what to do. So when I saw that she made it, I was like, man, I didn't even know what to say. I was so shocked. So I was excited, but at the same time I was like, dang, we did it.
This is one of the great things about sports, right? Is that any one player can have a down game or think they have a down game, and someone else on the team like immediately steps up, right? There's always someone that's like willing to pick up where there might be some gaps. I mean, Danielle, you had 5 goals that game. Like you scored a ton that game. Like you were lights out on attack. JJ with a game winner. Mari, you had some stellar saves. J-Lo on defense, like shutting down attackers coming through the middle. Like all those pieces worked so well. And yeah, it was dramatic. I think it added to obviously how much more we loved the game. But everyone sort of put in their piece, whether or not you thought it was like the best effort or not. That was also the most, I think we came back. I think we were down a couple times. I think they had at one point maybe a 3-goal lead, which seemed almost insurmountable just because so many of our games, like it's hard to go on 3-4 goal runs sometimes. And then you all did it. You all came back with tied it up. They tied it, whatever, coming back and forth. But yeah, whether or not you thought you had a bad game or you did have a bad game, or had low moments, someone else picked up where you might have like taken a step back. So all right, so we win that game 15-14. The crowd is losing their mind. I'm trying to figure out who has the best game film footage, which no one had taken it because either everyone's camera had died, people were in the way when people were trying to film. That footage that we showed is literally the only piece of footage of that shot, and we almost miss it because the boys are bouncing around so much in front of Coach Kramer that he had to lift the camera up to still get JJ, but then lost the shot for a half second. So crowd's on the field, everyone's losing their mind. I see some tears. What's going through your head? Like, what's next?
I don't know. when we were in that crowd, I literally just said I love you to everyone. I was like, I love this team so much. I was like, I was hugging everyone. I was like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Like everyone that I hugged, I said I love you too, because I was like, I can't believe I experienced this. Like I never thought we were gonna go through this. I never thought we were gonna win this much. I don't know. I've only been here for like what 3 years, 4 years, and no, I never thought ever in a million years that I think this was gonna happen. And I didn't think it was gonna happen the way it happened. Like she really scored in 8 seconds. And I just didn't expect the game overall to be like that. It was so draining. Like I went home and I knocked out. I felt like a bus hit me. Like I don't know. That game was so draining. It tired me out.
Yeah.
But
Felt like 2 hours, like for real.
yeah.
So that's a Tuesday night game. We get the dub. Social media is blowing up on that clip, right? We're sending it to everyone. The boys are freaking out. Middle school teams are freaking out. I got parents texting me saying like how epic that was. We had some of the parish parents reaching out and say like that was a great game. We find out that Grapevine lost to BL, and now we have a rematch against the team that we lost to earlier in the season. So it's championship. So Thursday night championship game. Walk me through that between Tuesday night and Thursday before we show up at the BL field. What are we doing to prepare? What are we thinking about? What's our mindset?
I think the coaches were really they really inputted it into the fact that we don't make it this far, and we should just be grateful that we have made it this far and that we can. But for me personally, I was like, okay, it's just this last practice, and then we're off to hit it from the start. That last practice, I was kind of just settling in, and I was like, come on, let's hit the ground running. We were really tired. I remember we were like exhausted from the previous game. But yeah, it was just a lot of the coaches like reiterating that this doesn't happen for us a lot, and like we should really be grateful for this opportunity and just hit the ground running off from the beginning, because we tend to like make a lot happen in the second half or in the first half, and then we kind of fade off. But yeah.
Yeah, I was scared. Or lie. And I also wasn't feeling good. I was sick that whole day.
Oh my God, I remember this.
Yeah, I couldn't even go to school. Like I was so sick. I was in my bed all day. I was in my pajamas. It was not good. And
He literally called me and was like, oh, I just got out of the shower and I threw up. And I said, Maria, what? Yeah.
Wait, because you were so nervous about the game, or like because you were like legitimately like sick?
I was actually sick. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
So I remember Jayla picking me up, and I was like, girl, we gotta go to Walgreens. I haven't had anything all day. Like I was trying to, oh my gosh, I had a Chipotle on the way there. So
it's not the best pregame meal.
I text her like all the time, and I'm like, have you eaten? And then she's like, no. And then by the time I come pick her up, like we always have to pass by and get something because she never eats.
I know she never eats ever. Ever. Oh my God.
Mari, what about you? What's going through your head?
I think the week or after we won that parish game, the whole mindset was that we made history right then and then. When we won that parish game, we made history. We were headed into district. We were the first. So I think
that was also the first ever playoff win for a high school bridge team. Was that parish game? Yeah.
So I think my whole mindset was that we made history. Let's continue to do it. So that's just, I was just repeating that in my head the entire time. And also that Thursday, I couldn't eat that whole entire day. I think I wolfed down some chips and salsa like right before, but I was so sick, just nervous. But I think that was just my mindset. You know, let's finish it out. You know, we started strong. Let's finish strong. You know, let's end this. So,
yep.
Let's go through the game now. So show up to BL. The crowd is coming in. You got a lot of fans. The boys are there. You've got, obviously all your parents and families, some teachers. I know some teachers are there. You got some of the other bridge coaches there. The game starts off like it's a pretty intense game. It's back and forth. What do we do in the first half of this game?
I like to think we came out strong that first half.
Yeah.
Like after that first half, I feel like everybody was like, okay, yeah, we started off good. Normally, I'm not gonna say normally we don't do that, but normally we like to consider ourselves a second half team. But that first half, we literally came out and we were on top. So I think everybody was just like chilling. Everybody was still confident, considering the fact we lost to them the first time. For us to be in the lead over in the first half, everybody was just like still having this winning mindset. So
also, like, our entire school was there basically. So that helped a lot. Like, I don't know if y'all saw it, but literally all of our high school teachers were there. Our like principal was there, and they had like made posters for us. And every time something good happened to like Jamaria, J-Lo, me, like anybody from Miguel, they would literally disrupt like the crowd. Like, it was insane. So I think I personally fed off of like the energy that was there. The only time I feel like I was down was when the Bishop Lynch guys and girls were like saying stuff, just because I get so mad when people like decide that like hate is the best option. Like, that's just no.
That was your first ever group of hecklers.
Like, it made me so mad. And then Kamari's dad yelled at me, was like, don't let them get to you, because I turned around and I looked at them like dead in the eyes. And then I think Kamari's dad saw me do that. He yelled at me, and I was like, "Oh my god! Let me."
Kamari, your dad was great. He like sat with them and was like doing like the opposite cheers. Like your dad was great. But it was interesting to see how you all would react, because when they started like going after you all, I was like, okay, this is new. Like none of our Panthers have ever dealt with like a group just straight up heckling them, and it was interesting to see the way you all responded.
I mean, I kind of found it funny. Like after a while. After, we started like, really coming out on top, and then the bridge fans started saying the same stuff there. So they're mad. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's such a different atmosphere than we're used to. Second half, excuse me. Second half, clock is winding down. We're up. We're starting to like really pull ahead, right? Like there's a 2-goal lead. There's a 3-goal lead. When did it hit you? And I don't know, and I don't need like a timestamp, but like when did it hit you that you guys were like, we're gonna win this thing?
When we started, like, we scored back to back to back. Like, they didn't score. It was like 9. It was 10-9, and then after they hit the 9 mark, they didn't score ever again.
Right.
And we just kept going, and I was like, oh my god! Like, the ball kept coming our way. We kept winning on the draw. Jamaria just kept like running through everyone and just scoring. And then like I feel like our chemistry was really good. So we were just, I don't know, we were killing it. And then Tony, oh my god, she impresses me every single day. She was going after every ground ball, scooping them up. Like, I don't know, everybody showed out. But yeah, when they weren't scoring anymore, I was like, we're winning this. And then Demarie was on the sideline, and I think there was a goal, and I was walking towards like where I always stand, and he was like, you have to bring it home. Like, you're bringing this home. And I was like, okay. And then after that, we kept scoring, and I was like, okay, Demarie's right.
Yeah.
We're going to take this.
J-Lo, what about you? When did it hit you that this was coming home with us?
Seeing Mari's reaction when every time she would just be like, no, it can't come down on our side. It can't come down on our side. And then when we started settling out, like defense was like cooling off from all the heat that they were bringing from all the scoring. And then we had a break, and I was like, wait, like, Mari, we have like 5 minutes. And of course, a lot can happen in 5 minutes. But it was really that moment, that like last 30 seconds. And Paris proved us, because they scored 2 goals in those 30 seconds. But I was like, we're up by like 5 right now, or like, I don't remember how much, but we're up pretty far up. We got this. Like, there's 30 seconds on. And as soon as, I don't know who flipped the stick up and threw the ball out, like off the field. Yeah.
Kenya.
I was like, this is it. Like, Mari, we did it.
Kenya came in clutch the last two games, the last two draws of the last two games. She was like clutch, popped the ball to JJ for the semis, and then got possession on the last one to kill the clock. JJ, what was going through your head? When did it hit you that this was going to be a dub?
To be honest, I was trying to stay calm. Like nothing really was going through my head. I would not really celebrate or anything because I was like, I physically do not, like, I'm not well right now.
Yeah.
If I keep jumping up and down, like I'm gonna throw up. So I was just cooling. But as soon as I started figuring out how to get the draw from Jenna, I was like, oh, okay. And then when Mari kept saving Jenna's shots, I was like,
Oh my God.
okay.
There's this one save that is so beautiful. Like Jenna has her stick up, and like I don't know, I've never played goalie, but like to me, it looked like she was gonna shoot high, and she shoots low, like very last minute, and Mari just saves it so perfectly, and I'm like, bro, how did you read that? Like I would have gone up. I don't know. Yeah.
That was the goal. Like that was the shot that I knew Mari was like, Mari got this. Like Mari has it. Like she's literally a brick wall right now. Like nothing's gonna pass her right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then they bowed out. And I was like, that's it.
Yeah, they took some cards towards the end. Rain had that empty.
Oh my God, Rain.
Rain had the empty netter. There was that moment. I started filming on Instagram Live, and there was that kind of long lull. They were trying to figure out like maybe the clock or something like that. But as that started counting down, I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be it. Crowd's counting down. 10, 9, 8. Kenya wins the draw. JJ, I think you can kind of see in the film it when it hits you and you start just like jumping around and like spinning around.
Yeah.
Crowd counts down to 0. Everyone takes off to Kamari. What's where are we at? What's our head space like in that last at the horn rather?
I thought I was gonna cry, but I didn't cry. Like I don't know. I think I was in shock the whole the day after, the weekend, the week after. I could not stop watching the film. I was like, wow, we really did that. I was like, I'm gonna go watch the film just for fun. Like in the moment, I was just like, dang, like we really did this. That was like the thing that was going through my head. And I was just looking at everyone and I was like, I literally love this team. Like I wish I could keep this team forever. It was like the best team ever, the best team I've ever played for overall. Yeah.
I agree with Daniela. I probably watched the film like 1,000 times. But at the end of the game where you all see us like, just hugging and stuff, to me, I think that was probably like one of the top 3 best moments of my life. Just living through that experience, winning the whole thing. The emotions were high. Everybody was so happy. The crowd was happy. The families, friends, coaches were happy. So I think just for me to share that experience with my teammates, I feel like it tied the knot,
Yeah.
JJ?
For me, it was like in my head, I kept repeating in my head, did you see me? Did you see me go? And like when I went up to Coach Maddie, that's exactly what I told her. I was like, did you see me? Did you see me go? And like that whole week, well, from what happened on Tuesday, I think that's when I finally realized like you have nothing left to prove, but you still was able to do this. Like you did it. But it also didn't really hit emotionally until we got to Canes and I went to the restroom. I was by myself for the first time and I was like, okay. Yeah.
The ride to Canes was so much fun.
Oh my
We
God.
were so hyped. Oh my God.
Like we pulled down the windows.
Windows, yeah.
We were blasting music. It was only like a 5-minute ride, but it was like those 5 minutes they hit. They really did.
Oh, and then after the game, Coach Kat was crying. Like she hugged me and her tears were like on my face. And I was like, oh my God. And then she was like, thank you so much. And then Coach Maddie hugged me. They were all crying. It was just, I don't want to say it was sad, but I feel like that hit me too, that they were crying.
There were a lot of alumni cheering for you all. Coach Elizabeth was there. Melanie, or not Melanie, Melissa was there, who had played on Coach Kat's team, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. There were a lot, a lot of people were checking the stream, or checking the Twitter feed and everything like that of the game. You had a lot of supporters that day, for sure. Okay, so we win the ship. What do you think it means? And we talked about this earlier, how this team has changed a lot of the mentality. How do we keep that going, though, right? This is a championship, winning program, which there are a lot of programs who are much older than we are that don't have championships, that don't have titles like we do. What do you think it mean? What does it mean for you moving forward? And what do you think it means for this organization moving forward?
If we can all just stay committed and stay motivated, we got this. Like, that's been a theme of this whole season. Everybody was committed. Everybody wanted to try. And the motivation was high. So, yeah.
For me, I would say to not let the disadvantage be a disadvantage to you. I don't know if that made sense, but a lot of people thought that we had a lot of disadvantages, and to be honest, we did. For one, the field, I love JC Phelps, let's go Phelps, but the field was not too great compared to those who had a nice fresh cut lawn, lawn field, good old turf. From our team, a lot of people probably had enough to make, 2 lineups, and we were lucky enough to, if we had, 2 or 3 subs, and just things like that. So don't let those get in the way of your goal. And I think we didn't let that scare us. And we just learned how to overcome. We prospered, and like JJ said, we stayed committed and we stayed confident. In our goal. So I think that helped.
For me, I think it's just playing as a team. We did really well playing as a team this year, but it also has to do with making sure that not that everyone's on the same page, but yeah, everybody's on the same page, but everybody's on the same page as far as what our goal is, the motivation, and what we want out of the season. Because I know we came, it was a weird start of the season because we're in a pandemic, but Coach Maddie really set the tone for the team. I don't know about y'all, but she really was and every time we messed up or our mindset wasn't there, she gave us these big pep talks, and it was okay. And she would give them, and then we would just automatically change. I don't know if it's her voice, the words she uses, but the second after that speech was over, we were a completely different team. We would play as a team, and I think just making sure that every single practice we work hard, and the team after us work hard. Don't just come to practice and think, oh, we're gonna goof off. Yeah, have fun, but also make sure that even the little things count.
For me, I think it's realizing that every single person on the team brings something to the table. And I say this because we have a lot of girls who are Bridge is known for bringing in girls newer. So we're it might be a little bit more difficult for you to play at this level now, but at the same time, it's being committed enough to come to practice and encouraging your teammates to not be better, but encouraging your teammates to practice and do things on your own. But at the same time, just being on the sidelines, it helps a lot for the girls who are playing on the field as well.
Yeah, definitely. I love all those sentiments, and watching the way you all competed versus, and the way you all committed to the process was pretty unique versus any other team that we've ever had. And there's always been an element of Bridge is here to have fun. And we're, like JLo said, we're here to bring, introduce the sport to, players who have not maybe seen themselves as high level athletes. The way you all stuck with this, especially given the ups and downs of COVID and virtual learning and, all the ups and downs of just your day-to-day lives, to win a title is monumental. So the floor has been raised significantly, and it'll be great to see what this group, and I know JLo, you're off to college next year, can do in the future. But you guys have set this now standard, and there are, JJ, your little sister, right? Mac and Lila and Fiona and Nala and Natalie, Val, like those are the next generation coming up. So a lot of their success is going to be based on the success you guys had this season. So congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a fun season. Who has the trophy now, Daniela?
Yeah, I have the trophy. It's sitting next to my TV. Like, I have like a TV stand, and it's on there.
As it should. So I have a question. They do this with the Stanley Cup, the NHL Stanley Cup. A trophy goes around to each player for like a day or two. Should we do something like that? I trust you all a little bit more than I trust maybe like the boys and their trophy. Should we do that? Should we have like each of you all have it for like a day or two?
I mean, the captain's got it, so like, why wouldn't we share it?
I know, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll just maybe it's summer league or open sessions, we'll have you all just pass it around, and each of you can get a moment to have it sit on your dresser or in your living room. Jayla, where did you keep it when you had it?
I had it like right on my what is that called? Your nightstand. So it was just like every time I wake up, be like, hey, we won this, huh? Or like every time I walk into my room, like, look at that clear plastic.
I love
it. It was
that.
kind of hard to see, but it was really nice to like have it in my room, or like sometimes I would bring it out and be like, look what we got. Look what my team and me won.
Just like show it to random people.
Yeah.
You're like, my team won this and it was awesome. All right, y'all. I appreciate you jumping on. It was great to recap y'all's season. That was we all agree upon. It's absolutely historic. There's a lot we can build on, but the last, really the last 15 months, I know the season is, 3 months, but you all are carrying the momentum and the energy and the relationships you had from the loss of last year's season into this championship. So, it's been a long 15, 16 months. Look what you got out of it when you put in the work is a trophy. So congrats. Okay. That's all I got.
Okay.